Hello and welcome to the Merle and Locke podcast. I'm Merle.
And I'm Locke.
Set sail and low expectations for everything nerd, accompanied by a healthy, albeit shameful, helping to pointless banter, lack of focus, and questionably acquired knowledge.
And more.
And more. Today's topic is going to be one that I can't for the life of me think otherwise, but I feel like we've had like an exact copy of this episode before, but I don't know for certain. I mean, we've gotten so many episodes in now that I'm starting.
You know what? We could never remember what exactly we said, so it's probably not going to be a carbon copy anyway.
Yeah, I mean that's true. I mean we've evolved, since then. If we had done this before. But I wanted to talk about building a community and roles within a community, what we recall from childhood until now, how things have changed. I was having this thought the other day, this uncertainty about one of my daughter's friends. She spends a lot of time coming over to our house and playing with my daughter. I don't want to say like she's that disrespectful, at least not blatantly to my face or anything like that, but she doesn't exactly obey my rules that I have in my house, which are very few. I just say no going into my kitchen and no slamming doors.
That's a ridiculous request. How could you ever ask that of a kid?
I know. Like they'll be like wrestling and screaming, carried on and stuff like that. And sometimes I'll tell them like, keep it down a bit, especially if it's getting late and whatnot, because I'm like, I don't want to keep the neighbors up.
Shut the fuck up.
Most of the time I just leave them to do their thing. I'm like, I don't care. You guys play, be kids, whatever. It's fine. But her friend, she sometimes gets too comfortable to the point where she'll excuse herself from playing with my daughter while my daughter's distracted doing something else. And she'll go start raiding my kitchen, going through my cabinets and getting food and stuff. And I come out there. I'm like, what are you doing? One of the few rules I have is not to do this. I'm like, if you want a snack, come ask me and I'll prep a snack for you. I don't want you rooting around through my fridge and my cabinets, trying to grab food. I've called her out a few times on this. I've also, taken disciplinary action where I'm like, you can't come over to my house or you broke my rules and this is your punishment, right? You can't come over. She gets upset, of course. And then she talks crap about me to my daughter.
Naturally.
And then my daughter turns around and tells me about it. She's like, so-and-so was talking crap about you. I was like, golly, but I remember the one day my daughter invited her friend over to her mom's house. And I told my daughter's friend, I was like, the rules I have here in my house apply to my daughter's mother's house. I want to get a good report because I know her mother, my daughter's mother, she's not going to call out her friend like I do. Because, she tries to be nice or whatever. And so I tried to reinforce from afar. And my daughter comes back and tells me all the rules that her friend broke. And I'm like, okay, well, if you can't be a good guest, while we're sitting here trying to be good hosts, if you can't be a good guest, then you're not going to be a guest at all. Fair enough, right?
Right.
I remember the one day I had that conversation while I was dropping the girls off at school. And my daughter was telling me when she got home later, she's like, yeah, after you dropped us off, we were walking inside and my friend was just like, I think your dad just hates me, right? And
because you're a real hateful guy.
I know. And my daughter brought that to my attention. I was like, what did you say? And my daughter's like, well, I told her, I was like, all the chances that he gives you, he keeps inviting you back to hang out. And if he hated you, then he wouldn't give you so many chances again and again and again and again.
She's a smart cookie, that one. She brings up a really valid point.
Exactly. And I was like, you're spot on. I don't hate her. I just need to take disciplinary action because I don't want to reinforce bad behavior. Now, okay, it gets to this point in the whole community aspect that I brought up initially. Taking disciplinary action against other people's kids. Now, I'm not talking about just random kids that you see out on the street, like correcting them and stuff. There's a point of overstepping, yeah? But as far as raising children, that old saying where it's like, it takes a village. I realized that all these different parents, they don't have the same expectations of children. Some are a little bit more lax than others. Some are more absent than others, don't reinforce rules, let their kids get away with whatever, and some are a little more strict. It creates a good balance, right? Not necessarily like, say, you were to cross a parent, go toe to toe with a parent that was a little bit more stricter with their children and they were correcting you, right? It's not necessarily creating new boundaries for you, but I feel like it's creating a sense of consideration where a kid won't even consider these boundaries that other people have unless they're called out on it. And if their parents don't see that as a boundary and another parent does, that's how a child learns. That makes sense in my mind, at least, where I feel like when I was a kid, I grew up in a church community, and it was, kind of old school where you got yelled at by everyone. Everyone's parents yelled at you, right? You were constantly being corrected, constantly walking on glass.
Who even are you? You just joined this church.
I don't even know you.
You don't know my story, Gladys.
It was very anxiety inducing, and I don't know if that was a healthy thing necessarily for a child to go to that extent, but it forced me to be very considerate about all different kinds of people as I was getting older. And it helped me become a more respectful person and be more inquisitive about what boundaries everybody has and what boundaries not to overstep. But as far as correcting my daughter's friend, I constantly keep questioning myself and whether or not I'm overstepping.
By telling her, no, you're not allowed? I don't think so. Just saying you're not allowed to come over this week or for the next month or so, I don't think that that's too out of pocket. I mean, it's not like you're taking them aside, whooping their ass and being like, now listen. I think that might be stepping some boundaries there if you're whooping someone else's kid.
I mean, okay, yes. As far as corporeal punishment goes, yeah, that's definitely overstepping when it comes to someone else's child. That's way too much. I'm glad those days are over, right? Those days are long gone.
I mean, when I was a kid, though, now I know some people who did not hesitate to lay a finger on someone else's kid. But when I went home, I immediately said what happened.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'd be like, so-and-so grabbed my hair and told me to look at them. She's like, what? That would send any parent into a tirade, ready for Mother Bear to come out, claws out, to tear the face off of some people. And you're like, go, 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 go. Can't be too excited, though, as a kid. You're like, yes.
You have to act like all intimidated and trying to hide away. You want to fuel that mama bear mentality, right?
You'd be like, ow, 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 oh.
Exactly. They like put the bandana around their head, put the paint under the eyes, going at it with whoever.
But I don't know. Getting to your community thing, like I feel there just isn't as much of a sense of community. I mean, for one, communities aren't so tight knit, and it really depends on location. Like a small town like where I live, like almost everybody knew everybody. But somewhere like out where you live, I imagine that you don't really have that smaller sense of community. So you guys don't really know everybody. You might know of each other, but it's like in passing.
It's odd, isn't it? Because I feel like so many people that I've talked to about this sort of thing, everybody had that community built for the most part. And as the years go on, it feels like something like that is less and less achievable unless you're in one of those, like if you attend a church or something of that nature, and that sense of community is very much achievable. It's odd, like getting into, I guess you could try and get into clubs or sports is a great way to do it. If your kid is into sports and you get to know the other parents, for the most part. Admittedly, no, I don't think you get that close. I mean, it's not like text each other all the time before events and whatnot.
Send each other funny memes about kids.
Yeah. I feel like the most we ever did was like text each other back and forth as to like who's bringing the snacks after the game, and that was pretty much the extent of it. Maybe that's not a good example then.
I mean, I don't have any kids of my own to also contribute to that, but I know how things were when I was a kid.
It's weird because everybody's so much more solitary now. I feel like the outreach especially just isn't there. A lot of us spend more time inside and in our own business, moving away from families. Everybody's separated.
Would you say that it's also because of the distrust for other people and other parents? Whether it's you're afraid of their ideologies might clash with yours. I don't know. You might be worried that Fred's a little too close to so-and-so.
I don't know. It's really odd, especially as the world in general becomes more interconnected as to how we are more willing to disseminate information about personal lives and, I guess certain quote unquote traumas and whatnot that our family brings upon us, like, and identifying things that are toxic behaviors and therefore cutting out certain people in our close-knit social groups that we used to have growing up, therefore excusing ourselves from it and then becoming more solitary. I can't really put my finger on it exactly. I don't know what happened, but it's getting worse and worse, I think. People are less willing to become close-knit because as soon as they see something that they don't like about a person, they cut them out.
Right. Yeah.
So quick to cut people out of their lives.
I don't feel that it's super right to cut people out entirely. I mean, I do get that there are times where you got to say enough is enough, and you have that chat with that person and things don't get better. It's time to cut them out. But just being like, this person said something that was just a little too off for me, I'm out. They said that they like wearing wet socks in the wintertime, and you're like, that's weird. No. I mean, yeah, it's weird, but I don't know. But I kind of want to understand why. Why do they have that thought? Maybe they need a talk. They need a little sense of community. Get them away from these weird things.
Yeah, give them a pamphlet on gangrene or something like that. Or whatever. I don't know. What is it going to take for us to be able to build closer knit communities that support one another, help each other as far as raising children and reinforcing well-behaved, respectful, empathetic children? I know you yourself don't have a child as of yet, but from the outside looking in, what do you think it would take?
What I think it would take, I mean, people need to finally come to some sort of realization that not everybody can do it on their own. We have our own things that we're facing as individuals. So sometimes it is kind of helpful to have somebody with some words of wisdom that might be able to help your kids and help you.
Maybe there's this strong emphasis on strong and independent, where we strive so much for that we're so much more willing to take way too much on because we want independence, because we've been encouraged to believe.
It is definitely good not to be completely reliant on others.
Well, sure, to an extent.
It does help to get something out in the air, right? And kind of realize how stupid or crazy it might sound. And you go, you know what? Maybe I was thinking about this wrong. And you kind of get to self-reflect on the things that you have said and go, oh, maybe I am in the wrong. Maybe I made a wrong decision there. It's not so much anxiety. I mean, it can be anxiety-inducing, overthinking things. But getting it out there, just talking to somebody, even if they don't have a right opinion or an opinion that you want to hear.
So you're saying that we need to more so humble ourselves.
Yeah.
I guess a more humble nature is something that's not so easily achieved. I mean, I feel like that's always been the case though, for the most part. Like, people don't want to be humble. or don't want to humble themselves and take accountability for themselves and their mistakes, or
I mean, it makes them feel some sort of way. It makes you feel like the opposing person has the high ground, so to speak. I mean, then you're just laying there in the ground like Anakin. You're mad now.
How did Star Wars make its way into this?
It can always kind of weasel its way in. But
It can always. Okay. Okay. So, in 3 words, the most important things that we have to achieve to be able to build a solid community.
trying to think of 3 words. I at least have like 2 of them thought out.
Okay, let's hear it.
Listen. You can take that in numerous conversations with other people. Just remember the word listen.
Sure. Some of us just wait for our turn to talk instead of listening.
Yeah, some people just want to immediately say what's on their mind next, but sometimes it's best if you listen, which leads into evaluate. Evaluate what it is that you heard. Evaluate what it is that you truly feel about the situation. For the 3rd one, it's not just a single word, but I'd say
Communism.
no. No. Speak what should only be spoken. You don't need to say everything that's on your mind in few words, or none at all. You don't always have to speak.
Or speak with intent.
Yeah, speak with intent.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. We can't make an acronym whatsoever. I mean, our poster board is going to be complete shit for this for this message we're trying to spread.
Acronyms be damned.
Acronyms be damned.
3 words. There you go.
3 words. Not really. Shit. We tried. We tried our best.
Maybe next time.
Okay.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to think on this a little bit more. Jeez. If you enjoy the Merle and Locke podcast, please consider becoming a patron by going to patreon.com/Merle and Locke, or simply follow the link in the description. Thank you.